back at the table that seems to expand more and more, as if we were both stretching the ends toward ourselves and further away from each other. There's a meal in the center, and a person I seemingly have nothing in common with at the other side. The two men told me I was too young not to worry about the world. They fed me with wisdom I've never held, knowledge they gained through the whistling of the wind through bridge grates. They shared with me that the constant background music of their grumbling and churning stomachs shouts lines of poetry and narratives of a familiar story. Every word made me hunger for another, the delicacy of their experiences challenging my perspective. I never wanted them to stop. I wanted their phrases to continue soothing my starvation for something greater than myself, their voices. I snuck one more brownie onto his tray because I liked his chuckle more when it wasn't interrupted by a shallow hack and winces of weakness. He had come to know me by name. I never knew his. Instead, he joked, "You know I need that chocolate, keeps my color rich," with a faltering smile. I wonder if that smile was put on for my benefit or his. He never spoke of how his bite into that baked good was the first bite he had taken all day. His humor. Without the ability to hear our lunch menu or see the steaming plate, his nose acted as our conversation. The gentle sniff seemed exhausted. I set the bowl of chicken noodle soup in front of him and watched his nostrils energetically flare as the bridge of his nose dove toward the meal. He finished every scrap of broth in under 3 minutes. I brought him close and allowed the rough tip of his nose to graze my cheek. He would never see the tears cratered in my sockets, nor the expressions of gratitude I spoke to him. But he smelled the ingredients I had gathered and cooked for him, and that was enough. His nose. I have always known I would be fed, always known that chicken noodle soup was waiting for me at home. I have a warm house, a full fridge, a welcoming mattress, and the privilege of knowing that my needs would be taken care of. Yet after many meals and conversations, I find more commonalities with these people than I do differences. Sitting across from someone hungry is a hard thing to do, or at least that's how it seems in the pretense, for it's not something you find in a school course or a Wikipedia page. I was never given an education on how to approach this moment, a table missing one leg, spanning a distance between us as I try to remember what I shouldn't say. So I focus on the food instead. I arrange every dish and keep myself busy stirring the mashed potatoes that come from a box advertising easy and quick. I offer to sort through the donated bags of grapes, receiving instructions on how to pull out the ones overtaken by mold. The meal goes untouched, and I don't understand why when these people are hungry. They haven't eaten all day, surely they must need this food. The woman in the dusty blue hat would always press her hand to her own wheezing chest and then place it carefully in the same location on my own youthful body, as if remembering the crevices and strengths she used to know well. The man with long, visibly aging hair and blistered lips seemed to always have a new question for me, yearning for some words to be shared with the both of us. The little girl, barely 4 years old, trusted me to hold her doll while she loaded her plate, gabbing the whole time about their adventures in fancy Paris cafes and beach resorts somewhere in her mind. He never told me he once went to the same school I'm in now and graduated with honors. She is always wearing a new Christmas pin and blesses us as we pass her a plate. They each have a story I've begun to memorize word for word, and I now know why the soup is the last thing touched. We are not feeding their greater hunger with the food we spent all day making or the plate that I fill. They are empty beyond a soup bowl in front of them. Hunger often is more than a need for cuisine. Hunger lives in them, and me. Hunger is not conveyed through their voices. It does not make its home in his humor. It does not take shelter in his nose. No, you cannot find it in the pupil's dilation, nor the dry skin adorning thin lips. You cannot find it in the wobbling of hollow kneecaps, nor the sunken slope of a forgotten stomach. Seated at my own table, it's dinner. I'm eating chicken noodle soup tonight. Yet the table seems cramped and small, too close to me as I feed my mouth and consider the nutrients only for my stomach. I finish half the soup before leaving that familiar table. I'm still hungry, not fatigued in my bones or organs, but hungry for the conversation that spans that large table. Whether it's the homeless poets, Mr. Brownie, the deaf and blind man, or another person in the soup line, my hand is always kissed. My mouth is gifted with wisdom and the ability to speak its hopes. My mind is stretched to allow the point of view of another so seemingly far from me. I am touched somewhere deep in my soul by the conversation that has developed, and I'm touched physically by their bony, peeling palms that reach toward mine. After 2 years, I've learned that it is a wonderful thing to sit across from a hungry person. I've found that a few simple words or a touch often helps to bring the table closer. I'm starving for connection, and I know just where to go to be fed.